There is a small closet off to my right where it's the secure part of the building where evidence that has to be under lock and key and tight security is in there. But that is jam-packed from wall to wall and almost out to the door with stuff like firearms and the like.
Drugs, money.
Where are your DNA facilities?
Oh, we do have a fuming tank over there, that's cool. Good. Excuse me.
US of A.
Okay, we have to evacuate the building quickly. No, only kidding.
Yeah, I want to rip everything down. He wants to keep it there.
Costanza. I'd be pushing old ladies down.
It's kind of interesting to run a fax here and then have people try to get back and forth all day long too. So.
I try. You ever noticed?
I'm a firefighter, so I'm working tomorrow. You want me to take him down?
Lieutenant and I have been shooting the bull.
That was done by kids. It had nothing to do with guys, Barbara. Kids that were locked up there came back and did that.
Did they really?
Taken too?
Yeah.
Good cartoon.
Yeah. But this used to be the juvenile holding area. In the house, the 911 equipment, and some others.
How many cities do we have a day of the month?
If you reach around to that, on that wall over there, snap the lights on. It's just 2 light switches. Thank you.
How many prisoners in a month do we hold in North Reading?
Oh, I can't give you a specific number without looking. My best guess is that we probably have,
That it needs to be held?
3. Well, they're held until they're bailed. So that, that term is relative. So they could be here a whole weekend. They could be an hour. They could
But
be.
how many as a year?
Maybe a
I mean,
dozen.
a
We have about 200 arrests per year, and that's down from about 500 arrests per year.
So the population, overnight population here would be what? As a general rule of a month?
We could have 3 a week, maybe.
Might be a week when you have 10 too. You never know. It's possible.
And then how many of these? 3?
That's a female cell.
Is that the biggest or the smallest?
That's the largest cell. The female cells.
3 male
We
cells?
were, if we the new facility, we're proposing 2 female, I think 4 male cells and two juvenile holding cells.
But for a population of 3 of them,
We've gone from 500 the rest of the year down to about 200 to 300 the rest of the year. And it'll go in cycles, goes up and down.
but the population has expanded so, and the population, in the town-wise, I'm
It
talking.
hasn't changed that greatly.
In the town?
Right.
12 to 15 or something, isn't it?
No, the population hasn't grown that much. It's only grown 300 or 400 or 500 people over 20 years. But it's the economy is robust right now, so there aren't as many, in my opinion, my humble opinion, there aren't as many people that are in circumstances that lead to their arrest. But it's cyclical. So next week we could start some kind of a crime trend. We could go for several years with a significant increase in arrests. Folks, we're about to enter into an, folks, excuse me. We're going to take a walk downstairs, so please use some caution as you walk down the stairs. If you look to the left, we do have some archived records piled up next to a door over here because we're trying to find a place to store them. But as you walk down the hall, you'll see some lockers, and there are some computers piled way high on top of the lockers. That is indicative of a poor storage area. We'll walk by a firearms restoration area, cleaning area, and then to the left you'll see our brand new female locker room. We can't get in because obviously that's controlled by our female officer. That used to be our photography lab, but it was necessary by standards to allow her to have a locker room. Then we'll walk into what used to be our police garage that is now part of the male locker room and large evidence storage. and we'll move into the male locker room and the gymnasium.
We're gonna come on back to him.
Yeah. This is actually illegal here too, believe it or not. On a landing.
Is this an outside door?
You can't open the door though, because when they installed the new doors in the fire department, they had to cut down the size of them. Seth, if you look over to this area here, that used to be our firing range, but we lost the ability to use that when they installed alley columns for the fire department floor. But we are converting that into storage, so a lot of the stuff that's out here will be behind that wall in the near future. What you're looking at to my left is the extended male locker room that's now moved into the garage. The locker room that was established for male police officers is small and inadequate, so we've borrowed, the Hillview Country Club graciously donated lockers to us, and our male officers have expanded their locker room into the garage, which is shared for tire storage and evidence. Anybody home? Step this way, folks. There's one area over there, so you guys change. Suppose I'm still in here. Come on in, folks. Don't be bashful.
Cheap Purnell's trying to sell him a bike. Might be a few minutes. Trying to raise some funds.
This used to be the civil defense area for the police department, or for the not for any civil defense. They actually had an office down here and some overnight facilities, a stove and a small kitchen, but we had to kick them out about 20 years ago as our department began to expand, and they moved the locker room down here. Even 20 years ago, this was inadequate, and many of the officers would keep their stuff upstairs in other cubby holes. This houses 30 full-time officers here and in that expanded area in the garage. Over behind Seth, there is a bathroom with one shower in there that is utilized by 29 male officers, and there is a shower facility for a female officer behind this wall. In this room here, there is a gymnasium. This used to be the archive records room for the town. They allowed us to establish a gym. Before we move in there, it's going to be difficult to hear because the state came down and ruled that there was inadequate ventilation in the building, so they installed a humongous ventilator in there, and it's virtually impossible to hear. If you have stress and your feet are tired, you can put your feet in the floor upstairs and feel the vibration in your feet. So that is one benefit, I guess. But come on in and see the gym. Pretty well. How about yourself? It's wise to do that because there is a state law that says they have to be physically fit. They were tested every 2 years. This used to be the records room for the town of North Reading, and when they converted the F.U.M.P school into a town hall, they established an archive vault over there that met state and federal standards. The town allowed the police department to use this as a gymnasium about 10 years ago. The officers did a fundraiser and they purchased the equipment and did the work down here themselves, but it turned out to be a wise decision on the part of the town and the police department to put this in, because there was a change in the state retirement laws that now require police officers hired after 1986 to go through an annual physical fitness test. So this helps those officers that have fallen under that standard to maintain their physical fitness. And it does help reduce stress on us older officers too that come down here. But there is that problem with hearing, and somebody my age, that sort of bothers me a little bit. Does anybody have any questions?
Eddie, just in relation to if you have a prisoner you're bringing in, and I know the new facility's proposing what they call a sally port. How is that situation currently handled now? When you have a prisoner, you have to bring him in, and they need to be secured.
The question was from Steve, and there's how do we handle bringing a prisoner into this facility versus through the sally port or the proposed facility? Right now, we bring the prisoners in through the front door. That's the only safe and secure area to bring them in. So we bring them in up that long, handicap accessible walkway through the public lobby into the dispatch area and booking area, and we handcuff them to that tether area. It sort of reminds me of the Old West, tethering a horse. And then after they're booked, they're placed into the cell block area. And if we are lucky enough to have that new facility, what happened, we've actually had 3 or 4 prisoners escape. As you take them out of the cruiser, they break free, and they bound over that little fence around the walkway and off to the river they go. And the river isn't deep enough to cause any problems. We usually find them 2 or 3 hours later because they're handcuffed behind their back. The sally port is a garage, in essence a garage, that is controlled, the doors are controlled by the dispatch officer. So as a police officer pulls into the dispatch, into the garage area, he'll notify the station. They open the door, the car pulls in, they close the door behind the officer gets out of the cruiser, takes his firearm off, puts it into a secure vault. Then he takes the prisoner out and goes directly into the booking area, which is isolated and secure from any public area in the police department. So if that prisoner does break loose, they have no place to go because they're in that inner sanctum that is secure from the outside and from public view. And so if they do get away, they somehow break out of a cell, they can't go anyplace. Versus the situation we have now. We've actually had prisoners that have hung themselves in our cells. We've been extremely fortunate. Miracle. We've been extremely fortunate where we've seen it on our monitors, and we've gone in and we've cut them down and resuscitated them with the help of the fire department. That's happened in my career probably half a dozen times, and we've never had a death. And we actually had one guy set the juvenile cell on fire because he had matches hidden on his body where nobody wants to look. And he set the door on fire somehow, and we were able to get them out of the building without any serious loss to the building or to personnel or the person. So this is just not designed, it wasn't designed even at the very beginning as a police department. And there's a lot of historical reasons. We can defer that to the Historical Society later on. But it wasn't designed as a police department. For example, something as simple as electrical power. There's inadequate power in this building. During the warm months of the spring, summer, and fall, we blow circuit breakers. Every about 2 or 3 times an hour, we have to go out and reset the circuit breaker. So there is so much technology has increased the demand for electricity so much within this building that the existing system can't handle the load. And we can only envision it's going to increase as time goes on. The prisoners in the cell block, that noise you heard right here, they hear that also because they have a similar ventilation system it was an add-on there was a change in law several years ago. We had to retrofit all our existing cells with those glass. If you notice the glass on the doors, that's Lexan glass. It's bulletproof and shatterproof. That's put over the bars, so it does prevent hanging. But we had to install ventilation, and that's what the prisoners hear also. And those steel walls vibrate.
You get more confessions out of them now?
Well, we've actually had a couple of people go. There used to be ceramic toilet bowls in there. We had one prisoner go crazy, and then when I picked up the toilet bowl and shattered it on the floor, and then he sat there lacerating himself with the pieces. So it's
From the noise.
well, that noise and other, I'm sure there were other contributing factors. One other thing I forgot to point out, The infamous septic system that's installed in this building is in that office there, which is currently, sir, in that room in back of this gym. That's